Okay, guys, now that we have our outline finished of our sunglasses the way that we want them to be, we're going to go ahead and add some color and patterns of what we want these to look like when we send them off to the manufacturer. Okay, so we're going to go, I already pulled up some inspiration photos of how I want these sunglasses to look, and I want to give them that sportsy car cool. I went ahead and I pulled up some sport car photos, and I really like this one. So we're gonna do black and red. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that in here. And this, remember, is just a reference photo. It's not going on our sketch at all. But this is a reference photo for color. So I really want to keep that in the picture so I know what it's a guide. So to know what we're coloring this. Okay, so we're gonna do as I want to do the frames and the black, and we can do the lens in red. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our frame outline layer, and we have two of them because remember we outlined both of them. So, and I'm going to actually merge these two. So we're going to move both of our layers up because we copied them, and we're going to hold down shift and we're going to click the one that wasn't selected, and we're going to right click and we're going to click merge layers. Okay, so now that we have our frames merged together, it's one whole. So now we're going to do the same thing. Well, no, we're not going to do the same thing with our lens. So we're going to leave our lens not merged, okay? So what I like to do is I like to go to File, New, and this is going to be for our colors. I like to go to 500 pixels. This is going to be strictly for our color base that we're going to use on our sunglasses. And we're going to, since the car was black, we're going to do black, or you can honestly click down here and you can click on the type of black that you want to go for and put that black in there. So now that we have this selected and we have our color that we want to use, we're going to go back over here and drag it into our sunglasses background or sunglasses sketch, and we're going to make it as big as the sunglasses as I like to do, and click enter. So now that we have it there, we're going to click on our sunglasses frame outline, and then we're going to go over to our magic wand tool, and we're going to click on the sunglasses frame. We're going to click back onto the background, the black color. We're going to go over to select, inverse, and then click delete. Okay? So this is going to give us our frame color. And as you can see, it's not in the back, so we want it to always be like behind the frame. So it's going to give us our frame color. Oh, I see why, because the lens is there. So this is going to be our frame color. And what we're going to do is click on the lens, one of the lens, which is this one. And we're going to click our wand tool inside the lens, click on the background color of the frame, and then click delete. So that's going to carve out the lens background that was there. So now we're going to go to our other lens, and we're going to do the same thing, the wand tool, background, delete. So this makes a way for our lens color. And this, that color will only just be our frame. So what I like to do is, now that we have our frame color in, is I like to double click and go to stroke, and this is going to give, I like to just add, it just adds that cleanness to the sketch. So, and that's what I like to do, is just clean it up a little bit so it looks more professional. and it just looks better. So now we're going to go up here to our bar. Sorry, maybe I should have named that. So that would be our legs. So now we're going to go up here and we're going to add color to our bar. The bar up here that we created. We're going to add color to that. So we're going to do pretty much the same thing that we did with the frame. I'm going to show you again, is we're going to go to our color cube, bring it over, and we're going to select our bar that we want in color. Go to select, well no, we're going to go to magic wand, and we're going to go to the bar, select the bar. Then we're going to go to select, inverse, and then go back over to the color cube. So right here, click back over and click delete. So that's going to add the color into the bar. And then we're going to do the same thing. When I added the stroke to the frame, it just makes it more cleaner, as you can see. And we're going to click OK. So as you can tell, now that we have our frame in color, we're going to also want our lenses to be in color also. So I know I want the lenses to be red. So let's find a red tone that would suit the sunglasses. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our color cube and we're going to click on the red and we're going to bring it back in, same way that we did with the frame. This time it's for our lenses. Okay, so now we're going to find, I should have labeled the lens before I even put them down to not know, but we can always find them. So this one is going to be left lens. You want to name them, before you even do this. I'm so used to doing this without labeling them that I forget to label them. So you always want to label your work. So now that we have our left lens, we have our color cube into Photoshop, we're going to want to select our wand tool, select the lens, and then go back to our color cube, and then we're going to go to select, inverse, and then delete. So this is going to give us our lens color, just like that. So I'm going to show you again. And what I like to do, same thing, is add that stroke, double click, go to stroke, and I like to click OK. 3 is fine with me. So, and like I said, this just adds a little bit of that cleanness to the lens, the outline. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back over to our color cube, bring it back in, and go over to our right lens, and go down to right lens, and we're going to go to wand, and then go back to our color cube, and go to select, inverse, and then click delete. It's going to do the same thing. Like I said, click on the lens. I like to double click and then go to stroke, and 3 is fine with me again. So that's how you would get the color for your lens. So now that we have our color for our lens and we have the color for our frame, I like to add a little bit of that reflection to it. So I'm going to show you also how to get that, and that's pretty easy. So now we're going to go here and we're going to delete our car picture, our Bugatti, and we're going to add color to our legs. So I want to just do full black matte legs for this. Like I said, you can add, if you wanted to do color here, you could. If you wanted to do color here, it would be the same way that we would do the frame. So let's do, let's do black legs. I feel like that will look better, way better. So let's do black for our color cube. And we're going to drag it over. And we're going to just make it big enough to where it fills the whole leg, because I really want the whole entire leg to be black, matte black. So go to leg, and then we're going to go to our wand tool, and it's going to select our leg, and then we're going to go back to our color cube, and then it's already inverse. If you don't have it inverse, you want to go to select, then inverse, and we're going to click enter. Okay? So that's going to give us our color of our leg. And then I like to also, to clean up the edges, I like to double click, go to stroke. I'm happy with 3. And then click OK. So that's how our leg, the side of our leg, is going to look for our sunglasses. And I'm pretty much happy with it. So now that we have our color for our lens and then our frame, we want to add that effect where it looks like the sun is glaring on it. As you can see, like that gradient, we want to add that. So what I like to do is I like to go over here to the square tool, go to white, and then we're not going to do stroke, we're going to do fill, and we're going to fill in white. So I like to do just maybe like a level of them, if that makes any sense. So like one would be tall, the next one would be short, and then the next one would be even smaller, and then the next one would be even smaller. So I like to do that. And what this does is that's going to give us that shine that reflects on our sunglasses, which gives it a little more realistic effect. And we're going to go to merge shapes. So we're going to right click and then go to merge shapes. And then we're going to go over to filters and we're going to go to blur and then motion blur. So this is going to give you that shape that the sun, that effect that the sun is hitting the lens. Okay, so you can add how much blur you want to the sunglasses. I like to add 26 pixels. And then what I like to do is go to edit, free transform, and then we're going to basically transform it to the sunglasses. And as you can see, it's having that little effect of like the sun is already hitting it. So you just want to make it to where you feel comfortable and you feel happy with it. So right here is kind of where I feel happy with it. Click enter. And then I'm going to duplicate this because I'm going to add it also to the other side. And then we're going to go to edit, transform, then flip horizontal. So this is going to do that same effect. And I'm going to do edit, free transform. And it's going to do that same effect. So what gives it, as you can see, it kind of looks almost realistic, but it is animated a little bit. So what I like to do is tone down the reflective effect. So I like to go to opacity, and what I'll do is tone it down to where I feel like it looks a little bit realistic. So for this, 54 is a little realistic for us. And maybe less. So maybe just 50. Okay, so that gives you that glare that the sun is hitting the sunglasses. And if you wanted to, you can add a little bit more blur, or you can take it down a little bit more so it just looks more realistic. So maybe take down the fill a little bit to 74. And it gives it that more realistic effect. Okay, so now that we have our frame, we have our lens, we have our sunlight hitting the lens, and then we have our side, what we want to do is make our backdrop. So this is going to be the coolness of the project when your manufacturer gets it, is the backdrop. Also, at this point, you would want to do your call outs, like you want the lens to be red, you want the frame to be matte black. And let me show you that right quick. So what I like to do with my call outs is I like to go to the square tool down here, and I like to flip it back to black, and then I would make a long skinny bar like that, and then I would go to edit, free transform path, and then I would just move it to where I want it to be, and then I would go to the text tool and do my call outs this way. So we want to do matte black frame, okay? And I would do my call outs that way so the manufacturer would know, okay, they want this to be matte black frame, and it makes it easier on you and also your manufacturer. Then I would duplicate the line that we created, and I would move it so they see that, hey, like, they don't just everything isn't bunched up over there. And what I'll do is I'll do my lens. So I would do red mirror lens. Okay, so they understand, oh, he wants a red mirror lens. That's why the blur or the sunlight is hitting the lens. Okay, even with the legs, I would do the same thing. I would do my call outs with duplicate the line, and then I would go down here, push it down there, go to my text tool and say matte black legs. So they understand, hey, that he wants the whole entire thing to be matte black. And that's just the finish. They're going to create it in black, and then they're going to finish in matte, so they get a better understanding. So now that we have our call outs, and they'll understand that the bar is there and that you want that to be matte black also. But usually if you wanted this to be a different color, then you would want to do a call out of, okay, bar and gold or bar and white, and then they would get it from there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is create our background, and what we're going to do is click our background layer. So that's what we started with, and we're going to name it background. And we're going to add some cool, maybe reddish and black in the background. So let's add black. Maybe not. Let's do red. Maybe let's do something that is off so it doesn't blend in as much. So I kind of like that. And maybe let's add a gradient. And you can make the background however you want to make the background. This is totally up to your preference of how you want the background to be and how you want it to appease whether a client, whether your manufacturer, whoever. But this is just showing you how you can make a background, and also it's something you can share, whether it's friends or whoever. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. I think that looks really cool. And it kind of looks like an ad poster. So I'm really happy with that. And maybe just to, because I did a dark background, we can make the call outs in white, because you don't want it to be where they can't really read it. So let's make our call outs in white. So it just looks better, and that it's legible, and that they can read it. Let me click that again. Okay. And that's how you make your frame and your legs. So how I did this background was I took the square tool and I just went across the whole entire backdrop with that tool. So let me show you. I create a new layer, and it's always good to do a brighter color or lighter color. Go to edit, free transform path, and then this is what I did for that one. And I just did it, duplicate layer, and I just did it throughout the whole entire background. And what I usually do to make it easier is I create 3, and then I click them all. So hold down shift. So one will be selected, hold down shift, click the other one, right click, merge shapes, and then duplicate layer. So it's going to be easier to move all 3 of them at once. And that's how I did background for the first one. Now you might see that it may go off a little bit, so just go to edit, free transform, and just drag it out. And then you're going to do the same exact thing throughout the whole entire backdrop to get the lines. And then if it drags off like the bottom there, go to edit, transform, and then just keep going throughout the whole entire background to get the lines. And this is what I usually do to get the cool background, and as you can see, it looks really cool. So, and what I'll do is I'll usually add, when I'm doing a project for a client or myself, I just add my company name at the bottom. And this helps the manufacturer or whoever you're sending it to understand that this is their project and that you worked on it and that this is how it would reflect their brand. So now that we have our frame, we have our lens, we have our sun hitting the lens, and we have our temples done and the legs, we're finished. So this is how I do every project from now on. I don't use paper, pen that much unless I'm out and I really have to sketch. I usually just do all of my sketches via computer, and they just look better and they sit well with me and they sit well with clients. And that's just how I like to honestly make my sketches now. So like I said, this is an updated video, and I think this is the best way to make sketches now. But definitely, if you want to show me some of your sketches when you try this method, definitely submit them, and I want to see all of them. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something. Bye.